Good morning. It's another good Sunday morning. Welcome to Church of the Total Man. We are in Proverbs chapter 4 today. Listen as I read along and give some commentary. Chapter 4 is about a father's wise instruction. So this is going to be good for the younger guys, even for older guys like myself. Hear, O sons, a father's instruction. Be attentive that you may gain insight. Dads are important. We can't do without dads. For I give you good precepts, and do not forsake my teaching. So he's pre-qualifying what he's about to say. And now some history. When I was a son with my father, tender, the only one in sight of my mother, he taught me and said to me, let your heart hold fast my words, and keep my commandments and live. A father, think about it, a father in an agricultural culture telling a son, listen to my words and you will live. You know, when you lived out in the wilderness, you had to listen to an older person. Think about it. You could wander off and get attacked by a wild animal. You could fall off of a hill or a cliff. So literally listening to your father not only meant life, it meant living, staying alive, literally staying alive and avoiding death. So that's what he's saying. Let your heart hold fast to my words. Keep my commandments and live. Get wisdom. Remember, wisdom. Tie it around your neck. Get insight. You know, I was talking to someone this past week, and I had an insight moment. It's like, ding, aha, something happened. I had data, and then all of a sudden it struck me. And that little mental lightning strike was insight. I understood something. Literally, it became clear. It was like I was looking through frosted glass at a problem that I was experiencing. Get wisdom, get insight. All of a sudden, the glass turned clear, and I could see the problem clearly. At that moment, there was insight. Get wisdom, get insight. Do not forget and do not turn away from the words of my mouth. They literally mean life and death. Do not forsake her. Remember, wisdom is mentioned in a feminine sense, and I mean that in a grammatical sense. Wisdom is feminine. It's mentioned as her. Do not forsake her. She will keep you. Love her, and she will guard you. What will? Wisdom. The beginning of wisdom is this. Get wisdom, and whatever you get insight. Wisdom and insight. What an amazing pair to possess. You're just unstoppable at the point where you have wisdom and insight. Prize her highly, and she will exalt you. Really, what's happening is that you'll receive good consequences in life when you operate with wisdom and insight. It's not like this separate entity following you around and just, sprinkling good things on you. It's the consequences of making great decisions. Wisdom is. Prize her highly, and she will exalt you. She will honor you if you embrace her. She will place on your head a graceful garland, which is kind of something that you get when you win a race. Think about it. A garland is leaves and small branches put together like in a crown that are put on the head of winners of races. So when you live your life through wisdom and insight, you end up getting a crown, a garland. It's beautiful. She will bestow on you a beautiful crown. Just what I said. Hear, my son, and accept my words, that the years of your life may be many. Well, as a longevity freak, I have been eliminating things from my life that will take years off my life, or that could take years off my life. And I'm adding things to my life that will literally make me live longer. For instance, I want to be married. How's that going to happen? I would love to maybe have more children. How's that going to happen? It's going to happen by embracing wisdom and insight. That the years of your life may be many. So I'm looking for a matriarch, a partner, as I am a patriarch, to continue my family, that the years of my life may be many. When I was in church a few weeks ago at Divine Liturgy on Father's Day, there was blessing of the fathers, and then the chanting that the choir and the rest of the congregation did was, "May your years be many." I like that. I want to hear that every week. That would be nice. "I have taught you the way of wisdom. I have led you in the paths of uprightness." This is the Father talking to the Son. "When you walk, your step will not be hampered. If you run, you will not stumble." So he taught him how to even walk, how to even run without tripping. Think about that. A father is so important. Let's just back up a little bit. Not only did he teach him how to walk and to run, he taught him how to walk and run without stumbling, without tripping. He taught him how to get from A to B without tripping. Wouldn't you like to do that? Wouldn't I have loved to do that, to spend my life instead, going from A to B? I went like this from A, around, through, back, and then I finally got to B. Wasted time and wasted years because I did not listen to wisdom and insight. Keep hold of instruction and do not let it go. I am classic. I am absolute classic for opening up a box and not looking at the instructions. I can't tell you how many times, even like the microphone and the microphone stand that I'm using right now, came with instructions. And I started putting things together right away. Immediately started having problems with it and was wondering why it wasn't configuring properly. The issue is I'm not taking hold of instruction. I'm not looking for the instructions. The last thing I do is look at how to do it. This is saying, keep hold of instruction. Do not let go. Guard her, for she is your life. What is your life? Instructions. There is a way to live. There is a way to proceed. Do not enter the path of the wicked. Do not walk in the way of evil. Okay, I understand that. Avoid it. Do not go on it. Turn away from it and pass on. For they cannot sleep unless they have done wrong. They are robbed of sleep unless they have made someone stumble. It's telling me there are people here whose life's mission, like they wake up and they think, who can I make stumble today? Who can I jam up? Avoid these people. You only have to hang around. Like if you have a new friend, a new person, a new acquaintance that you meet, and it just seems like everything about them just ends up being trouble, ends up being debt, desperate, urgency, everything's drama. Avoid them, turn away from them, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. There was a point, and there still is, where I'm thinking of becoming a chaplain. And a chaplain of what? A chaplain of a 1%er biker group. That's what I'm thinking. I have for years cut their hair, cut their beards, and have become a trusted person. There are many that wake up and eat the bread of wickedness and do some pretty bad things. Imagine having somebody at the clubhouse who instructs them, who acts as a father, a wisdom figure, a person with insight. They can come to me, they can get a haircut, they can get a beard trim, keep people looking good. And one of the things that I can do while I'm doing that is talk to people and answer questions. It's what I do now anyways, a couple days a week, and it has worked out magnificent. They drink the wine of violence. In other words, their sustenance. Everything they eat, everything they drink has to do with violence. But the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, which shines brighter and brighter until the full day. I like that. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn. It shines brighter and brighter until the full day. Once you get started, you might not be real bright. You might not be shining your light out there very brightly for others to see. But it says the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn. You ever watch a sunrise? It starts out dark, and then the orange ball is on the horizon, and then it just gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And that's how you are in your life. You wake up, it's dark out. You might have your cup of coffee, like I do. But as your day goes on, you're getting brighter and brighter, exercising more wisdom and more insight as the day goes on. The way of the wicked is like deep darkness. They do not know over what they stumble. Well, that's because they're awake in the dark. They should be sleeping. There's a difference between operating at night and operating during daylight. I operate during daylight. I know where to place my feet. I'm not going to stumble. I know exactly where I'm going. Wisdom is getting me. We're going back to this now. Wisdom is what gets me from A to B. My son, be attentive to my words and incline your ear to my sayings. Be attentive. I don't know, I was probably in second grade, and I got a report card, and I didn't do really well. And the teacher wrote that I am inattentive in class. And I remember bringing that report card home to my mother, and I said, Mom, what does inattentive mean? And she fired back at me right away and says, it means you don't pay attention. Here I was, 7, 8 years old, and I'm unable to pay attention in class. My son, be attentive. In other words, pay attention here. So, are you diagnosed with attention deficit disorder of some type? Fidgetiness. Operating by God's principles helps you kind of calm down. It's encouraging us to pay attention, focus on what is being said. Let them not escape from your sight. Keep them within your heart. That is the words. My son, be attentive to my words. Keep them in your heart. For the words, the wisdom, the insight that you got from your father, they are life to those who find them and healing to all their flesh. Imagine that. Wisdom means life. You ever see some people just, they just seem to squeeze every little drop out of life. I noticed that. I know certain people who use a sponge at the kitchen sink. Like when you want to use a sponge to clean up the countertop, you put it under running water and you squeeze it out until nothing else can get squeezed out. And then you do your wiping. But if you just put the sponge under the water and start wiping, you leave even more of a mess. So I make sure I really get a good grip on that sponge and squeeze it out till it's almost dry, till it's damp. What I want to do is I want to take life and squeeze every bit of juice out of it. I want to get the most out of life. I literally want to get as much as I can out of life. And that only comes from one thing: being attentive to the words of God, which is saying right here, the words of my Father. Don't let them escape from your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and healing to their flesh. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life. Guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. How many times have you gotten heartbroken? And the number one reason is you didn't guard your heart. There's nothing wrong with being guarded, but when you give up your heart so quickly, so freely, you will always lose quality of life. Always. Be vigilant with what's here, for from it flow springs of life, creative ideas, a long day of work, being able to love people that are unlovable. Let's say you've been working all day at work and listening to people and telling people what to do and listening to problems all day at work. And then by the time you get home, there's nothing left to give to the wife, the children, a girlfriend, family. There's nothing left to give because you open up your heart too much. We need to be as loving with our families and wives and children at the end of the day as much as we are at the beginning of the day. So guard the heart, for from it flow springs of life. And we bring that life. We model life for our loved ones. Imagine walking the door, not dragging your butt in at the end of a long workday, but walking in with a spring in your step. No complaining. And the words that come out of your mouth are not, how come you didn't chop the wood? Why is the house dirty? I thought the living room was going to get vacuumed. What's that pile of boxes over there? Instead, what comes out of your mouth is life, springs of life. Put away from you crooked speech and put devious talk from you. Guilty. I'm not reasoning it away. It just says, don't do it. I get that. I've spent years using foul language for effect purposes or my excuses. I'm just keeping it real. Put away from you crooked speech and put devious talk from you. Well, that's pretty plain. There's not like really a lot of commentary there. It just means what it says. There's no hidden meaning here. That's one of the things I love about Proverbs. It just tells the truth. There's no 10 ways to interpret things. There's not a lot of ways that you can interpret put away crooked speech and put devious talk from you. Just don't do it. Okay, Lord, that's a message to me right now. So I'm going to be more careful of that. Let your eyes look directly forward and your gaze be straight before you. That would seem to make sense, right? The notes say that wisdom enables one to keep life's path without swerving into the mire. I get it. I took a walk yesterday in the woods, a couple miles, a place where I go trail running, and there have been some heavy rains. And there are some really mucky, muddy areas that have absorbed a lot of water. And there is a kind of beaten down path. If you stay on the path, your sneakers will remain clean. If you go off that path a little bit, you can sink into the mud, literally past your ankles, the mire. Wisdom enables one to keep life's path without swerving into the mire. How many here have been in mire and stuck for months, maybe even years? And you bear the scars emotionally, mentally, spiritually of going off path into the mire. I do this thing where I raise my hand. You've seen me do that. That means I'm guilty of it as well. Let your eyes look directly forward and your gaze be straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet. Wow. We kind of walk automatically, don't we? We don't consciously think left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. It's part of our autonomic nervous system. I don't tell my heart beat, 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 beat. I don't tell my lungs, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Unless it's that Bush song. Some of you know what I'm talking about. But ponder the path of your feet. In other words, think about where your feet are going. Think about your direction. Maybe that's just another way of saying think about your direction today. Ponder the path of your feet. Wisdom enables us to do that. Do not swerve to the right or to the left or turn your foot away from evil. I think the takeaway from today is this. Ponder the path of your feet. Ponder the path of your feet. Know what direction your feet are going in. Know what direction your life is going in, not only hour by hour, but day by day, from a micro level to a macro level, to where your feet are going today, this month, this year. Of course, you know I'm a goal planning guy. Where are your feet going? I don't want to get secular here. This is strictly a biblical and religious teaching, but you've heard me say this. There will be times that in Church of the Total Man, you will hear something that's going to flip a switch in you that will make you unrecognizable this time next year.